This hat is really stupid looking. Good afternoon, nerds. So this is the start of my creepy Christmas reading vlog. So this is going to involve me reading as many creepy Christmas books as I can. Last year I read as many holiday romances as I could, and I ended up reading 10. And I didn't get all the way through my TBR, but I don't have as many books this year. So the reason I wanted to do this, I already mentioned it a little bit in my channel plans video yesterday. Basically, I just have been feeling very not Christmassy. And also I like horror now. So I figured, why not combine these two? I know that Christmas horror is a thing. Like the holiday for horror is not Halloween, it's Christmas, according to like film buffs, or at least the ones I listen to on podcasts. There is a lot of Christmas horror, like even in books, because I know that because when I went looking for it, there was a lot, and I had my pick. So what I've been doing over the last like month and a half is just finding the best ones, or at least the ones that I'm the most interested in. And I'm gonna try and read as many of these as possible. So I'm gonna go through my TBR right now very briefly, because hopefully the main content will be in the vlog, not here. First up, I'm gonna do the digital ones. Let me get my computer because I don't want to forget one. But I do know the first one is called The Visitor. And that one, okay, yeah, it's The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. And I mean, one would assume by this book cover that it involves aliens. I can't figure this out. I got a Kindle and I can't figure it out. So I think that there's a snowstorm involved. I think that there's an alien, and I think that's all I know. It's a novella. It's 98 pages. It will be the very first book that I read on my new Kindle. This is part of my strategy, by the way, which I will elaborate further. I'm really gonna try and like economize, and I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, and a lot of books that I want to read on here are on Kindle Unlimited or various other ebooks like the library. It leaves more options open, so I'm gonna really try really hard, and I'm hoping that instead of reading on my phone or a computer, I will like reading on the actual Kindle better itself. This is an experiment. So that'll be the first one. I mean, aliens and horror and Christmas and snowstorm. That just sounds really fun. Then up, the next digital one I've got is an audiobook, actually two audiobooks. So the first is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I've never read Darcy Coates. I have a bunch of her audiobooks saved to my Scribd, which is not Scribd anymore, but I'm not calling it the new name. I don't like it. Unless you want to sponsor me, Everand. But until you sponsor me, you're Scribd. Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. So this is a winter thriller. I think it might verge on horror. I know she's considered a cozy horror author. This doesn't sound like one of her cozier books though. I don't know, I could be wrong, because it involves a group of people getting stranded in a snowstorm. So I'll make sure to split those two books up a little bit, and they start getting picked off one by one. I think they find the first person's head on a stake, kind of thing. So that should be fun. The next audiobook I have is a much cheerier one, or I mean, it still involves death and all that stuff, but it's HERCULE Poirot. It's HERCULE Poirot's Christmas. So it's an Agatha Christie, and I always like Agatha Christie audio. I mean, there's like one that I have not liked. I'm sure it'll be great. So those are all the non-physical copies that I have. And then for physical copies, start with the shortest one. This one wasn't originally going to be on my TBR, but hey, stop, demons. This one wasn't originally going to be on my TBR, but I found it when I went to Barnes & Noble to buy another book, so I got it. That's The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett. I love Janice Hallett. This is a tiny little novella. It's a follow-up to her first book, The Appeal. I didn't think this was coming out in the United States already. I thought that we'd have to wait a little bit, so I wasn't planning on reading it, or because I didn't want to order it from Blackwell's or definitely not Waterstones, because Blackwell's has free shipping, FYI. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think this is standard mixed media epistolary format where you examine evidence and you try to decipher the mystery. I don't exactly know what the mystery involves, although it's the players again, the troupe, the theater troupe that was involved in the first appeal. So this one is really short. I'm sure I can get through it like in a couple of hours, like 191 pages, The Christmas Appeal. So that's number one. I've got this one I saw all over the place last Christmas, and it looks intriguing. It doesn't have great reviews, but I mean, that's fine. I'm willing. And there's actually 2 of them that I put on hold at my library, but this one came off much, much sooner. I'm still on hold for the other one. I'm not going to get it. I'm like 10 people deep, and it's not moving quickly. So, and this one is The Christmas Murder Game by Alexandra Benedict. The other one was The Christmas Express, Murder on the Christmas Express, like, which is the take on the Murder on the Orient Express, and I would have preferred that one. I like games, but I like trains also, so we'll see. I'm not really sure what this is about other than there's murder and a game and Christmas. Literally, I don't know anyone who's read it. This one I saw everywhere last year. Also, this one I'm actually reading by audio, but I did get a copy from my library if I want to like reference it or hybrid read, and that is Secret Santa. So this is a horror. I haven't actually read the summary yet, so let's read it. Out of work for months, Leslie Meyer is desperate to work anywhere in publishing. Prestigious Blackwood Patterson isn't the perfect fit, but a bizarre set of circumstances leads to her hire and firm mandate. Lucy must find the next horror superstar to compete with Stephen King. Good luck. Anne Rice and Peter Straub. It's the 80s after all. And horror is the hottest genre in the industry. But as soon as she arrives, Lucy finds herself the target of mean-spirited pranks by her coworkers, who clearly don't want her there. The hazing reaches its peak during the company's annual Secret Santa gift exchange, when Lucy receives a strange gift that she recognizes but doesn't understand. And then I think that, don't eat my book, you little turd. That is a vintage book. So yeah, this sounds good, actually. I have the audio, and I tested it out before I downloaded it, and it sounded fun. So I got the audio, and I have the hard copy for easy reference, and I don't have to put it in. But that's kind of fun, right? A couple of my friends have read this one, and I think they gave it good reviews. I didn't pay too much attention, so I didn't want to get spoiled. But I saw this one when it first came out, and I was like, what is that? That's hideous. Why would anyone want to read that? And now here I am, whatever, many years later, like, yeah, I'm going to read it. And that's Krampus by Brom. So, first of all, can I just tell everyone that it is one of my pet peeves in this world when people only have one name. He has a last name. It's in the copyright. Brom. His name is Gerald Brom. What is wrong with putting his first name there? Gerald Brom is just fine. This illustration speaks for itself. Like, we don't need a fancy ass name. Like you're too good for a first name kind of thing, guy. Yeah, you know what? You're a talented artist and you write about scary, creepy stuff. But you're too good for a first name. I also have Slewfoot, but I haven't read that one yet. I remember this is the one that, like, brought him on the map. I don't actually know anything about Krampus, although that's kind of fun. Oh, there I just opened right up to the illustrations. I really do enjoy the illustrations. Like, that Santa's not good. Look at that. This is gonna be fun. And then the last one, I think this is the one I'm most excited for because I'd never heard of it before. I mean, as somebody who's getting into horror, I really probably should have, considering he was just named with Stephen King in that blurb in the Secret Santa book. And that is Peter Straub, and this is Ghost Story. And look how cool this cover is. So I had to buy it used. Actually, I bought 2 copies of this book, and this one is like has never been read. So it's a brand new copy from, but it smells ancient. Because this was published in 1979, and this book was printed in 1980, so 5 years before I was born, and it's never been read. Unbroken spine, it's all tight and stuff. I'm gonna ruin it. But I did get another copy because I wasn't sure what condition they would arrive in or which cover I would like better. Unfortunately, the other copy's way too beat up, but it is shiny. Like, this isn't shiny. The other one has like a shiny silver foil, but I love this cover. All of the other covers are flawed. This is the best cover. But basically what this is about, there's a small town and it's like darkness is descending on this town somehow. And then I think these like 4 or 5 people go to this house one night and they just tell each other stories. And granted, I read this summary a month and a half ago. I think it might have something to do with them trying to exorcise the house of the spirits by telling these stories. I don't know. Is there obviously there's ghosts involved. I'm not in this book though, don't worry, I wasn't even born yet. But yeah, I'm super excited about this, and if it's not good, I'll be really upset. But I think it's gonna be good because it was the bestseller back in its day, and I am susceptible to those. Although it'll be interesting to read something not Stephen King that was written back in this time period. That is my TBR. If I find something else, I might, you know, pick it up in addition to these books. But I think I will probably just stick to these and call it good from there, because I've got a lot on my plate here in addition to my other TBR, and there's a couple of holiday romances I do want to read. One that I didn't get to from last year, and then we're gonna go. I am going, the Kindle's weird. What is that? Are those bullets? Are those pens? What are those? I think they're pens. It's weird. I'm gonna go read The Visitor, and I will check in, who knows when, maybe halfway, maybe after I finish. I'm gonna go take this hat off that and fix my hair, because it's really tight because I have a big head. But look, I'm so easily amused. It changes colors. It was at Walgreens when I went to go get shampoo yesterday, so I just got it. I make bad decisions with money. I'm gonna go read. Hello, I have cats on me. There's one. There's the other. I am going to bed. I am tired. Getting up at 3 was not my fave thing. I just wanted to check in real quick. I got 33%. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna just check in tomorrow. Morning. I don't know why I've decided to film right now. Like, I'm so tired, and my eyes are itchy because I was touching my eyes after touching the cat. That's stupid. I have to go wash my hands and put eye drops in. But I wanted to update you real quick about The Visitor. So I got 54% in. Oh, there's a level now. There's a level now on this camera. I got 54% in last night. Before calling it in, I was distracted by videos, and I don't even know what I did last night. So I'm not liking it very much. And it's not like because of the one thing it's getting right is like the vibes. These like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people are trapped in this old diner in the middle of the most giant snowstorm Indiana's seen in decades, and one other visitor shows up who starts killing them, and that visitor, I haven't met them yet. I've met the visitor's beast, is an alien, I think. I don't know. My problem is not the horror part, it's the characters, and the writing honestly isn't doing it for me. It feels like it needed to be edited, and also like they were trying to make the characters likable but didn't succeed. I feel like this book maybe needed to be not a novella. I think maybe it needed to be a novel, because basically we get introduced to each of these characters before they take shelter in the diner, and then we know like 2 things about each of them. Like there's a Japanese couple that has a cabin nearby that hikes the woods every Christmas, and that's what we know about them. The diner owner is lonely and enjoys when his waitresses give him Christmas presents, and he puts them under a Christmas tree. The truck driver has a daughter and a wife who's making pozole at home, and he's sad that he can't be there. And then the guy who's truck driver, he has a dog. That's what we know about these people before they start dropping dead, and that's it. And it's like, I don't care. I don't care, and I don't read horror for the kills. I don't read horror to be scared. I read horror for the dark exploration of the human psyche. And this is not doing that. It's just people dying because this random creature is killing them. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna finish it, and then I'll come back and wrap it up and move on to the next. I mean, at least it tells us what's gonna happen. Hello. So it is Sunday morning, December 3rd. Yeah, December 3rd. And I'm on my way to one of my in-person book clubs. I'm technically at this point a member of 3, I think, because one of them is quarterly and the other 2 are monthly. And I don't go to all the ones that's quarterly. It's a nonfiction microhistory book club that my friend Jessie started. But anyway, I'm on my way, and I just wanted to do an update because I finished The Visitor this morning, and I am very sad to say that I am giving it 2 stars. So it was extremely obvious, to me at least, that the book was self-published. I feel like it really needed an editor. Not only that, like, I don't think it was very good. I don't think it was very well written.
everything was very obvious, and everything was tell not show. And and also I'm a sci-fi reader, so when you put an alien in a horror book, I'm gonna want to like make it make sense. And I feel like the author just sat down and was like, hey, what if I made an alien be a slasher? And then that was the extent of his thought process. And he just did it. He didn't think about it, because there's various points in the book where, because we get a couple of POVs from the visitor, and in there he says that he's doing, or it, I mean, he calls it he in the book, so I'm going to call it he, but I mean, like, how dare they assume that aliens even have a gender? So he says he's collecting organs to catalog primitive species, but like, as soon as you stop to take a look at that premise, it completely falls apart. It makes no sense. First of all, if you were cataloging a species, you wouldn't just slaughter them and then rip out a couple organs and then fritter off. It doesn't make any sense. If you're really going to catalog a species, like kidnap an entire human and take it upstairs and freeze it or something. Like, what good is a heart or a lung or a liver or whatever he's got in his little alien box devoid of context? It makes no sense scientifically. Like, these aliens are idiots. Second of all, he says he's there to collect and he's a scientist, but then he proceeds to hunt this party of humans after he's already got what he came for. And why would a scientist bring a hunting dog, which he calls it a dog? In the alien POV, he calls it a dog. No, how about we make up another name for the alien to give its hunting creature? Like, can you do that at least? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why is this alien doing what he's doing? Why is he killing all these humans? There's no reason for it. Is he a hunter or a scientist? Make up your mind. I don't know. I just thought it was so sloppy, and the whole thing was just a poorly built excuse so that an alien, which the author was obsessed with saying the alien had no facial expression, so then an alien would come kill a bunch of people, and then only 2 people are left, and they like take, sorry, spoilers, they take their revenge by killing him, and it's like, what was the point? Like, it wasn't that cool to have an alien do this. You know what would have been cooler? Is if the alien had actual believable motives, and maybe like there was some exploration of the alien truly considering humans to be animals, and therefore it's not worried about, you know, killing them because they're not even like alive. Like us cataloging bugs, like that would have been more interesting. Maybe some sort of reasoning where the alien was like, I don't want people to be alert to this situation, so we're just going to contain the entire... Like, there was no acknowledgement of any kind of... It was just... Guys, it wasn't good. I don't know. I don't know what anyone who read this, who gave it higher than a 2 is thinking. I don't... Maybe you're just like all like... You just really like blood. I don't know. Like, I don't care about that stuff. It's not interesting to me. So, unfortunately, this was a failure. And I'm going to move on to my next book, which I think I'm going to pick up The Christmas Appeal. So that will be fun. And I know I'm going to like it. I mean, it might not be my favorite thing she's ever written, but I know that Janice Hallett can write. So, whatever. I'm going to go to book club, and I'll see you later. Bye. Okay, so I've started The Christmas Appeal. And I mean, I knew I would like it. The appeal characters and format are not my favorite. I'm getting the same feelings of annoyance with these people that I was from the first book. And also, the frame story is her flimsiest. The idea that anyone would send emails, like a bunch of emails to 2 lawyers to solve outside of any purpose is just, it doesn't really make sense. But I'm totally willing to suspend my disbelief for the puzzle. Janice Hallett just makes my brain so pleased because, oh, stupid ribbon. Because like it's a puzzle. All of her stuff is a puzzle, and it always has a good twist. And I just love it. I love a good mystery, and she does a good mystery, and they're creative and fun. So I'm gonna read until I'm sleepy, and then probably check in after I finished it, probably tomorrow. Hi, it is Monday night.
Sundays are so dumb. I have finished the Christmas Appeal. I finished this morning, actually, pretty soon after I got up. And it is exactly what I was expecting. Gave this 3.5 stars, just like I gave the Appeal 3.5 stars. And I like the mystery, I like the twists, but these characters are so terrible. They're so irritating. I mean, just reading their emails and their messages, and especially the character Celia, who's so far up her own butt. She can probably see if she's got anything in there that needs to be taken care of. Exactly. Okay. Hey, the Tucson Festival books authors are up. That's what I just got a text from Lindsay. Thanks, Lindsay. I gotta go look and see who's coming to Tucson. But yeah, finish this, 3.5 stars. Good time, just like I thought it would be. If you've read The Appeal and you liked it, you'll like this. If you didn't like The Appeal, don't touch this. So now, I don't know what I'm going to be reading next. I have to get some other books read, so I'm going to take like a couple of days break. I've got 2 audiobooks to finish. One's an ARC. Oh, look at Dodo over there. I got 2 audiobooks to finish. One's an ARC, and then I've got this fantasy that's taking me forever. Oh, it's actually, the cover's right here if you're curious. It's Shanghai Immortal, and I like it, but it's like, I'd rather be reading other stuff. It'll be a surprise, the next book that I pick up. So I'm gonna go read now, but not Christmas horror or mystery, because yeah, I just explained it, you know. Sorry, I'm sleepy. It's like 7:30 and I just want to go to bed. I wonder if I'm fighting something off. Whatever. I wanted to update you. I started a new book, Christmas Murder Game. I actually forgot that I didn't update you, and I'm already halfway through. So this book turns out, it's a mystery, country house murder mystery, but the little hook is that their main character's family, for as long as she can remember, maybe even before she was born, has always played a Christmas game, which involved leaving clues around the house, and then the winner got a prize at the end, which was like an extra Christmas present. And the main character, whose name is Lily, she lived in the house with her mother. She doesn't know who her father is, and her aunt Liliana, and her 2 children, Gray and Sarah, and their dad Richard. The family like all congregated together. But now with the start of this book, all of the older relatives are dead, and it's just the cousins left. And Liliana has invited Lily, that's who she was named after, to come back for the first time since her mother died at age 12. Her mother died when she was 12, and play the game. And she says, I know you don't care about winning, but if you play, you will find out what happened to your mother, implying that her mother did not commit suicide, like everyone has always thought, but was in fact murdered. So that's why Lily goes, and she's very good at solving clues and all that stuff. In fact, she's the best out of all of them, but she purposefully didn't answer the clues or like hid in the shadows when everyone else was playing, because when she did win, she got ganged up on and looked down upon mostly by her cousin Sarah, who's a bitch. But anyway, so they're playing a game, and now they're stuck in the snow, of course, and now somebody else has died, of course. It's nothing special. I've read stuff like it before, but I'm having a good enough time. I'm having a better time now when I'm halfway through than I was at the beginning, when nothing was really happening and the author was trying to introduce all the characters and the plot and stuff, and it was absurdly overwritten. Like just purpley prose that doesn't even make sense. Like the imagery she was using, and I'm like, you don't have to say that. You can just say what you mean, because it was such bad imagery, like that it did the opposite of what the author was clearly wanting it to do. But anyway, now that the action is happening and the characters actually talking to each other, I'm having a good time. And I like most of her cousins, and other stuff's going on too. But I mean, that's the gist of it. I'm having a good time. I'm probably going to finish this by tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed right now and stay awake as long as I can and read this. I'm supposed to be reading the Nicola Griffith book, Meanwood, which is the sequel to Hild, which is a series that I really like, but it also takes a lot of energy to read because it's set in, even before the Middle Ages, it's set like pre-Middle Ages in Britain, and a lot of stuff and language and all that stuff is just like very foreign, and you have to expend energy. Plus it's emotionally exhausting. So I just don't want to read that tonight. I'm supposed to read it, but I didn't Pippin wants me to pay attention to him, and I know this because he's laying on my foot and biting my sock. Hey! It doesn't hurt because he's just lightly biting it, so it's very clear that it's like a pay attention to me bite. Hey, you're gonna leave a bruise. As soon as I said that, he just started biting harder. Hey, stop it. Here, play with your catnip. Go get high. I'm gonna sign off. Check in tomorrow after I finish this. Don't be surprised if I'm in bed by 8 o'clock. Okay, it's Sunday. I finished the Christmas murder game. I'm giving it 4 stars, 3.5-ish, 3.75-ish, rounded up. I ended up having a good time with this. I'm very susceptible to mysteries. I'm very susceptible to games, people solving clues. I'm, of course, terrible at solving the clues, but if somebody else is going to solve them for me and let me watch, I'm very happy with that. This wasn't my favorite thing ever. Glad I got it from the library and didn't buy it. I will definitely be reading more of this author's book. She's got a new one out this year called The Christmas Puzzle Game, I think. Or The Christmas Puzzle or something like that. And then there's Murder on the Christmas Express, which involves the trains. I probably won't get to those this year, maybe next year, but did want to check in that this was a good time. It wasn't the best thing I've ever read, but I enjoyed it, so. Now I have started, actually I started last night, Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about this. I'm pretty middle of the road right now in terms of my feelings about it. It starts like with 2 people lost in the middle of a blizzard in the middle of nowhere. And I was like really worried that the blurb was misleading and that most of it was going to involve like being stuck in a storm, which I don't find that particularly interesting. I mean, it's a good thrill ride for like a couple of chapters maybe, but if it's going to go on longer than that, I don't like that. I know this because I've read a couple of books where people were stuck in storms for extended periods of time. Maybe like a really, really, really talented author could make it interesting to me. You know, somebody who's interested in the same things I am. But if it's just the stuck in the storm stuff, that's not interesting to me. So thankfully, they have made it to an isolated cabin and the group is like sheltered there. And the main character's name is Krista and she's there with her boyfriend. They have known each other for 4 months and they're basically like in love with each other and like hinting at marriage. And I'm like, whoa, dude. This is fast. So I'm instantly suspicious of the boyfriend who's lost in the woods at this point. He's the only one who isn't in the cabin and they are currently out searching for him. So that's where I'm at. Don't really have any feelings whatsoever, negative or positive, about anybody in the cast. The narrator's pretty good, the audiobook narrator, and the writing isn't bad at all. I'm just not into it yet. I'm really not very far. I'm only like an hour into the audio. So I guess we'll see when starts happening, or maybe I'll get to like the characters more. But for now, it's a good enough time listening. I'm going to start a puzzle after I go. I'm dog sitting and kitty sitting right now for my friend Lindsay. So I might film an update over there. I might not. I don't know. We'll see. Check in later.
Hi, I'm sleepy, but I just wanted to check in real quick because I just wanted to tell you that I'm having a hard time listening to Darcy Coates' Dead of Winter. Guys, would you I'm talking to the video. Quit being a dick, because it's really intense and there's so much snow and so many chopped off heads and I just needed a break. I'm still having a hard time with that book. I mean, I like it, so I'm not going to DNF it, but it's like, I can get through a 15-hour audiobook in 3 to 4 days, and it's been longer than that. I've barely been doing anything the past 2 days. I've been watching YouTube. I haven't been reading. I have not been. So 2 days ago, in the middle, the cats woke me up. The cats woke me up at 3 a.m. and this is something they've been doing, and I just really need them to stop, because sometimes they keep me from going back to sleep. Normally, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I can just roll over and go to sleep. But if they're like around, or if they're like on my head, or Lily's trying to suffocate me with her large belly because she needs to be as close to me as possible, I can't go back to sleep. I tried for an hour and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I just got up. And for whatever reason, my brain landed on, I need to watch the new Doctor Who specials. I need to watch them right now. Even though I'm 4 seasons behind, or 4 years behind. I guess I hadn't seen like 2 seasons and some specials of the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's character. And I was like, I have to watch the specials because David Tennant is back. I have to watch them right now. Who cares about spoilers? So I got up at like 3:30 in the morning and I watched Doctor Who for the 3 hours, and it was the happiest I've been in such a long time. I'm not going to go into it here. This isn't a Doctor Who video, but my point is that my brain has been consumed by Doctor Who in a way that it hasn't been since 2011. So I was literally incapable of doing anything else yesterday. I was capable of doing other things today, but it's also my reading has just, sometimes it just happens where I read so much that I just need a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days sometimes, where I just don't read anything. And I think that this is one of those times because I haven't wanted to listen to any audiobooks. I've been listening to a Doctor Who rewatch podcast, and I've mainlined like 24 hours of that. Don't ask me how. So that's what I've been doing. I have not been reading at all for my regular TBR or for this creepy Christmas TBR. So I'm rethinking some things because I'm behind schedule now. I wanted to get this vlog posted by December 15th. That's not going to happen. It is currently December 13th, and I still have 4.5 books to read, and I want to read all of them. I was going to reserve the last 2 weeks of December for rereading my favorites from this year, but it's not going to happen, I don't think. I'm just going to play it by ear. I also wanted to reread some John Scalzi, and I also wanted to read the Christmassy mysteries that Cat Sebastian writes, called The Missing Page and Page and Summers, I think. And I don't think I'm going to get to any of those. It's okay. I'm just going to go with the flow. My mental health is more important. I don't want to burn out. Like, I just watched a longtime YouTuber's video today where he said being on BookTube was slowly killing him. It's Gavin. Gavin reads it all. I'll link it down below. I don't want that to happen to me. If I don't want to do something and it's like not necessary and it's like an artificial standard that I've held myself to, I'm going to stop. Because no one's going to be hurt by me not doing those things. And getting this video out a week later than I wanted to originally. This was a totally random update. The next time you see me, I promise I will have finished Dead of Winter and started my new book. By the way, I'm really annoyed about this. I use Inkbox tattoos. They're vegan temporary tattoos that are really cool normally. This was supposed to be a thistle plant, but you can't put them on when you're sweating. And I made the idiot mistake. First of all, I put one here too, and I did the same thing right before I did this one. I put this one here and then I blow dried my hair, and apparently I get really sweaty when I'm blow drying my hair. Who knew? So that one was ruined. And then I was doing some chores around the house when I had this one on 20 minutes later, and it immediately got all sweaty and blurred and ruined. So I just took it off and I threw it away. So there goes $30. It will be gone in like a week. And then I will put another tattoo on somewhere and sit quietly for an hour while it finishes. And I do not sweat at all. I'm flashing my wrist in this video, so I wanted to explain. Okay, bye. Hello. I'm holding Pippin so he doesn't knock my camera off the windowsill, which is where it's currently resting. So I just wanted to check in real quick and say that I finished Dead of Winter, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars rounded down. So I ended up enjoying the book a lot. Well, not a lot, but I ended up enjoying it. It took a turn around 75%-ish, where I suddenly got interested in the plot for the first time. It really didn't have much to offer me before then in terms of character or plot, so I'm not sure how I stuck on. I guess it's just because I was listening to it while I was doing other things. It did end up being like a fun slasher horror mystery, but also I'm kind of disappointed in it also because I don't think it really lived up to what it could have been in terms of character. It just really never got there, and the person who was doing the killing also was very thinly developed. It almost went another way and I was going to be even more disappointed, but luckily something else happened. But then also I was disappointed by that twist because I had called it from the beginning, and as soon as I met this character I was like, oh, it's oh, sorry, spoilers. I will beep out that gender, so in case anyone still wants to read it. I'm making masabaka. It's time for me to go take. So real quick, sorry, I know you guys hate the beeping. Real quick, so yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed the part where, like, what it revealed what was going on into figuring out who did it, but then I stopped enjoying it again
really, sort of, because there just wasn't really anything there. And I'm not into killing. The killings do not interest me. I don't think it's exciting. I don't think it's scary. I don't think that's why I don't like slashers. I think they're boring unless there's something else going on and the slasher is just doing like surface work. Pippin, stop. And that's not what was happening here. It was just killing because the author thought it would be cool / scary / fun to have people's heads chopped off one by one. And maybe some people are into that. I'm not. I would read another Darcy Coates book, but I'm not like in a super hurry to do it. I do want to check out one of her haunted house books and then maybe I'll decide from there. But I just wanted to check in also real quick to say that my next book is going to be Krampus. And also I'm starting Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Okay, so now the beeping's annoying me and I'm gonna go. Bye. Good evening. Here to check in. It's been several days, 4 days, 5 days since I checked in. The run up to Christmas, it's an insane time of year. It's very stressful and I haven't even bought any single Christmas presents and I'm stressed out. But I just haven't really felt like vlogging. But I did finish 2 books. But I did want to first talk about Hercule Poirot's Christmas, which I really liked. So this is actually one of my favorite Agatha Christie's. It was just a really good whodunit involving like family drama, and the mystery itself was really well plotted and I did not guess the murderer. It was really twisty. It was really good. It's definitely one of my favorites that I've read from her. So I think I ended up giving that one 4.5 stars. And unlike a lot of Agatha Christie's, there isn't a lot of historically based problematic elements in it. It's just like a really good time. And then I literally just finished Krampus. So I'm so glad that I read this. It wasn't perfect. I am giving it 4 stars, not 5. Because there were some elements of this where like the main characters were engaging in homophobic talk, ableist talk, that kind of stuff. I mean, they're what you would call redneck. Maybe some people would call them white trash. That's not a nice thing to say, but they're from a very poor area of town that has been heavily affected by drugs. And this was before, I think this was published before the opioid epidemic or before we talked about that right now, but they're dealing with meth. Anyway, so that's like the setting, but basically the main character's name is Jesse, and I don't remember if I said this earlier, but he is a down on his luck, almost divorced father of one. His wife left him for the sheriff, who is dirty. He's a dirty cop, but his ex-wife doesn't know that, even though he's tried to warn her. And Jesse himself is mixed up in some organized crime with this nasty dude called the General, and he's living in this beat down trailer. And he's just in a really bad place on Christmas Eve. Like, he even thinks about killing himself on Christmas Eve until Santa's sleigh falls out of the sky and Santa is in it and he's being chased by these like devil men, and Santa's sack ends up falling into Jesse's trailer, and the plot goes from there, but he gets mixed up with Krampus and his Belsnickles. I mean, I enjoyed like the gray areas of this, but mostly I just enjoyed Krampus. The spirit of Krampus and the pagan practices of European ancestors, where they would chase away the darkness of winter and bring in the spirit of Yule, and like all the pagan practices that have been co-opted by Christianity and like changed from their original purpose. Like, Krampus gets really mad whenever he sees like crosses or Santas on Christmas trees. He goes into a rage. Santa is his mortal enemy because Santa has a different identity based in Norse mythology. Brom here has made that Krampus is also based in Norse mythology and has roots there, so that's where they know each other from. And he tried to do Santa a good deed and bring him along to his Yule traditions, and then Santa betrayed him, took all his traditions, and imprisoned Krampus for 1,500 years. Or is it 500? I can't remember. For a long time. I think it was 500 years. And so now Krampus has finally escaped, and then stuff goes from there. I had such a good time with this. Like, I don't even know if we can really call this horror. I mean, it's got horror elements to it, definitely. Like, there's a very high body count. And it's part fantasy, part horror, part folklore, part, I don't know. It's just a mishmash of a whole ton of things.
And actually, this cover isn't my favorite. I wish they would have put this guy on the cover because he's got much more of a mischievous air to him. And like, Krampus is not evil. They call him the Christmas devil, but he's not evil. He's mischievous and he's a fertility spirit and he likes to punish evil people and beat them with sticks. But he loves the wild. He loves animals. He loves the unruly nature of humanity and the spirit of humanity that's not like good and holy, but isn't evil either. That's just human. I don't know. I just really liked it. It was like crunchy and weird. The illustrations were good. And Santa is not, Krampus thinks he's evil, but Santa was also like morally gray. He wasn't like pure evil. You know what, guys? If you like dark fantasy and you like folklore and you want a Christmas story that is different, I definitely would suggest checking out Krampus because I had a really good time with this. Tomorrow, I'm starting Secret Santa. So I will check in once I've gotten a little bit of the ways into that. I'm doing the audio, even though I have the hard copy out from the library. Really good time. I'm now more excited to read the rest of his stuff because I had such a good time with this. So yeah, check in tomorrow. Okay, same spot, different day. I started this morning and I really like it. Something weird, I was thinking this would be like, it's the word that I'm looking for, like not a real book, but like not a tie-in book, gag book, you know, like a book that was purposefully written to not take itself seriously, like a joke kind of thing, not like, anyway, that's not it. This is like a real book. It's well written and the author knows what they're doing and they know a lot about publishing. So Pippin, don't chew that. So here's another thing is that I could just leave the horror element out completely and really be into this also. Because what the main plot is, the main character's name is Lucy, which is spelled L-U-S-S-I, which is weird. I wonder if there's a connection with the name Lucifer, which is spelled differently also, but it's weird. Sorry if you can hear the crackling, I've got my fake fireplace on. But she gets hired, she's a horror editor. She edits horror fiction, genre fiction, but her small press, which she's been very successful at, because this was a booming time, the 1980s was a booming time for horror. This is historical fiction from the 80s. And her small press was bought by HarperCollins, and they laid off everyone. So she's been looking for a job, and she's found it really difficult, and she's finally made her way in by sheer luck to one of the most snooty literary fiction publishers in New York, which is of course made up. And the luck involved her like interviewing with the CEO of the company, the owner, whose name is on the building. He straight up tells her he's not going to hire her, that he's only interviewing because he has to, and that he's already got some Ivy League prick that he wants to hire instead. So she just lets it out, and she says basically like, you haven't had a bestseller in years, you're not doing good. And we learn later that the company is failing financially because they have not been successful because they've been sticking to their like literary principles instead of finding good books. So she just lets him have it, and she tells him that she shits bestsellers, which is true. I mean, not literally true, but she's had a ton of bestsellers with horror, and he's even heard of several of the books that she edited, but he still doesn't want to hire her. And then she finds this weird doll that's sort of like a Krampus, but I forget what it's called. It had a different name, beginning with a P. And soon after that, he like collapses and he has this like medical emergency and he dies. Not in the office, he dies later at the hospital. And when she's going to visit him, she meets his son and actually asks the son for a job because the son is freaking out about the company going under and being financially insolvent and all this other stuff. And he's like, get me a bestseller. I don't care how you do it. And he hires her to be a senior editor. I'm really into that plot line, and I really could care less about the horror. At this point, I want to see her find a bestseller and save the company and shove it up all those literary assholes who scorn genre fiction, shove it up their butts. That's not the expression, I suppose. The better expression would be shove it in their faces, but whatever. That's what I'm into, but there is going to be a plot. Nobody at the office likes her. They keep playing pranks on her. And I think she's going to, at least the blurb says, that she's going to get a Secret Santa gift, which is the device from the office that killed the boss or
was involved, was there when the boss died. Her coworkers are going to start dropping like flies, I think. So all that to say, I'm really enjoying this. I really like the audiobook. I hope the horror elements are as successful for me as the non-horror elements. Also, something else, this author, Andrew Shaffer, he's married to Meg Shaffer of the Wishing Game fame / Tiffany Reese. If you read her erotica and dark romance. I don't, but I enjoyed the Wishing Game. So just funny that they're together. So yeah, I'll check in once I finish this. The 22nd of December, it's Friday. I don't have much to do in terms of planning for the holidays, so I just plan on reading. So yeah, check in later.
Hello. It is 1 p.m. Well, almost 1. I have to be at work at 1 on the 26th. And my Christmas was interesting. I didn't really get any reading done, which honestly, I don't even know why I try to get reading done at Christmas. I can't read at Christmas because of my family. But my mom was sick. She has the flu. And I'm just really tired and I'm worried I'm gonna get the flu. So I didn't have to go to work right now, is basically what I'm saying. But I did want to check in real quick because I finished Secret Santa on the 24th before I went up to Phoenix. And I really liked it. I thought for a little bit it might be a 5-star, but it did that thing that horror books and horror movies and stuff sometimes do that I don't really like, which is actually one of the reasons why I thought I didn't like horror, because I thought it was like the only kind of ending possible in a horror book. Sorry, I have eyelashes in my eye. Which is when they like give you an ending that kicks the main character in the butt, like destiny-wise. And I don't know how to say that without spoiling it, but like it's got a like a vicious kick at the end. You know what I mean? Like things don't end happily. They end with the promise of more horror in the future for different people. And I don't like that. I just don't find it satisfying. I'm like, well, why did we go through all of this hell? Why did these characters triumph in the end, or this character or whatever, only for us to have it not be resolved and it's gonna come back in the future. Anyway, so aside from the ending though, I really had a lot of fun with this book. I really liked the audiobook also, but it was funny, and I thought it was a novelty book, but it's not. It was just a straight up good book. It was a horror comedy, for sure. And it was just as fun about horror tropes as it was about publishing. And I just had a really good time with it. So if you are looking for a fun horror book, Secret Santa is a good time. And I wish that Andrew Shaffer would write more horror books, because he's only written those weird Obama-Biden mystery books that are definitely novelty books. Also, I don't know how somebody goes about getting the rights to somebody's life story to make them a detective while they're still president. I don't understand, but whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to check in about Secret Santa. Good time. Do recommend. And I meant to start Ghost Story in my well, it's not, I'll talk about that in a second. I meant to start Ghost Story on Christmas Eve, but I didn't get around to it. Instead, I read a funny romance book instead. And so I'm starting Ghost Story today. I wanted to finish this video by today. Joke's on me. Best I can do is probably Thursday, but most likely Friday. So I will be reading Ghost Story. Hopefully I can get through it pretty quickly, because it looks like really interesting to me. So Ghost Story will be the last book that I read for this. I'm going to work. I will check in once I'm like 50 pages into Ghost Story and have a handle on what's going on in the story. See you later. What is this book? I just read the first 26 pages, which is a prologue-ish of Ghost Story by Peter Straub. And I don't understand what is happening. It like this nameless dude. It opens up with the question, what's the worst thing you've ever done? And all of a sudden we're with this dude who appears to have kidnapped a girl, but by the end, like, the girl is like kidnapping him. It's so weird. I don't understand what's going on. The style's fine, I guess. I'm gonna wait and see. I mean, I should have given it like 75 more pages, really, I guess, before I know what's going on. But whatever. I'm gonna go to bed now. Hi. I got my mom's flu. It doesn't seem to be like hitting me as hard as it hit her,
but I don't feel good and I stayed home from work today and I'm not going to work tomorrow. So this is always like the stupidest thing. It's like, what good is not going to work and getting to be at home and have a free day if you feel terrible? Anyway, luckily this is a reading sickness and not a watching sickness. So like reading sicknesses are when your brain is too dumb, the blood flow or the swelling or something is impeding your concentration and you can't read. I can read, so it's fine. Otherwise I would just not be reading at all, and my plans for the end of the year would be screwed. But sorry, I'm gonna lose my voice because I haven't talked all day on purpose. I'm on page 80 of A Ghost Story. This book is disturbing, and not just because of the story, but also because it was written in the late 70s and the main characters are 4 old men who were literally born in the 1800s, early 1900s. And they're gross people. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't mean for them to be as gross as I'm rating them. But it's also meant to be disturbing, I think. Because, oh, listen to that rasp. Because I'm still not quite sure of the plot. I do think I need to get further in. I didn't realize this book was almost 600 pages. It doesn't look like it, but it is, and I don't know what to do. I don't think I'm gonna finish it. What was I saying? Oh, the plot. So I talked about in my last update a couple days ago how freaking weird the prologue was, but now we seem to have settled into the story about 4 old men who have lived in this small town called Milburn in New York, upstate New York, for their whole lives. And there used to be 5 of them who used to get together and tell stories once a month at different people's house. But one of their number died a year ago, and they get together the first chapter and they're like, something's wrong. We're all having nightmares. And they're being weird men about it. Like, this would be a very different book if women were involved. But the women so far are background / annoyances to the men, which is also something that I hope changes soon. So they tell stories, but when their friend died, they started telling stories based on the question, what is the worst thing that ever happened to you? And some of them tell made up stories. A lot of them are like ghost stories. Some of them are not the most terrible thing that they did, but the worst thing that ever happened to them, etc. And the implication seems to be something is wrong with the town, that the town is full of scared people who have nightmares. And it happened that night that this guy, Edward Wanderley, died. And it was his nephew that was in the prologue kidnapping the little girl. I don't know what's going on. Presumably, they're inviting this nephew to town, though they think he can help them. How they think this guy can help them, I have no idea. So, it's still too early to tell for sure if I'm gonna like this. I really want to like it. The style is weird. It's like Stephen King-esque, but not really. It doesn't have the easy charm of a Stephen King book, so jury's kind of still out on that, but I'm gonna try and get as far in this as I can before I pass out tonight. And I'm gonna go make a sad person sick dinner. And I'll check in maybe later, maybe tomorrow. Bye. Hi, okay, so it's me. I ate some chicken nuggets for dinner. It was indeed sad. And then I tried to read more of Ghost Story and it just was not happening. So I'm too dumb for it right now. Words. But I did have a book show up at my door that I was expecting, but not this soon. And that is The Christmas Guest. Let me zoom out. So this I actually won in a Goodreads giveaway after I had already started this vlog and it had been going for a couple weeks. So I was like, well, there's no way this is gonna get here in time. There's no way. Sorry. But it did. And it's perfect.
because it's little and people have been liking it. Anyway, so I'm gonna read this, and then when I'm done, I'm probably gonna start a Christmas romance that won't be in this vlog, but I need to read at least one more before the end of the year, because I have one from last year from Aardvark that I need to rate in my app, and it's driving me nuts. So I'm gonna probably start that also, but then I'm probably gonna fall asleep really soon also after that. Anyway, I'm not gonna check in tonight. I'll check in tomorrow. Bye. Hi, it's tomorrow. It's today. Whatever. I slept. So I read like 60% of this last night, and then I just got really tired and fell asleep, but I could have kept going because this was really good. I mean, it's not like the best thing I've ever read, but it was fun and it was well told, and the ending, I was like, what? Yeah, this was good. Peter Swanson, he's still got it a little bit. It's coming back. It's coming back. By the way, I didn't know this, but apparently like a lot of people have a hate on for one of my favorite books of his, 8 Perfect Murders. And I don't know exactly the other reasons why apparently people hate it, but one of those is that it spoils 8, other books, like murder mysteries that have been out for a really long time. And I don't understand the complaint for that. Like, going in that that's going to happen, so don't read it. Also, like, I did not have a problem just making sure I read the books that I wanted to read before I read it. And it was a really good story, so I don't understand. If you've heard bad reviews of 8 Perfect Murders, you should ignore them and read that book because it's good. So this, in case you're not aware, I can't say too much because it's a novella. But basically there's this girl her name is Ashley. So that was creepy because that's my name. Ashley Smith. She's an American in London for a year, studying at some sort of art college or something. I don't know. She's in art history. They say the name of the college. I don't know if it's real or not. She's invited to the home of this really posh family, but they turn out to be toxic for Christmas. But she still wants to have a good time because she doesn't have any family and she's all alone at Christmas, and she just takes the opportunity. Plus there's a handsome boy at the house. Anyway, so the first there's a frame story with an unnamed woman in New York City 30 years later, and this takes place in 1989. We get diary entries from Ashley, present day. They're reading the diary, and I can't say too much more than that. But yeah, some twisty things go down. This had a what moment at the end, but overall it was really satisfying, and I think he did a great job with it, and I'm glad that I have this now because it was good. I'm going to, over the next couple of hours, try to make a dent in the rest of Ghost Story. I did end up reading 100 more pages yesterday. Oh, there's my tea. So I'm feeling very conflicted about this book. It's like this sort of horror that I really like, the epic, long time spanning mythology sort of crunchy horror that Stephen King does really well, and so does Tananarive do. And I like that part of it, but also it hasn't aged very well. I can see how this was a huge bestseller though, but there's just too much bad women for my taste, and not enough good women or normal women to counterbalance. So it ends up just feeling sort of like this mild undercurrent of misogyny. I really don't, again, I don't think Peter Straub was a misogynist any more than was baked into him in the culture. We all can't escape that. But there's definitely a lack of awareness that women are people too. There's just I don't know how to describe it without spoiling you, so I'm not going to say anymore, but I will just say it is a product of its time, and that aspect is keeping me from truly enjoying it. But I'm definitely going to finish it. Probably I will finish it before lunch today and check in,
and then hopefully get this freaking video up before the end of the day. It is the 29th. I originally wanted to post this on the 15th, if you recall. Plans. Okay, I'm gonna go get my tea now. Bye. Hello, friends, countrymen, non-countrymen, weasels. So here's the deal. I was gonna do a whole thing. I was gonna dress up. I was gonna like make tea. I was gonna do stuff for this wrap up, but I'm tired and I want to go take a nap, and I need to do this now so I can get this video uploading, because it's gonna take a little bit because it's over an hour. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just go through these real quick and you're gonna be happy about it. I spent all morning finishing Ghost Story by Peter Straub, and I'm giving this a 3.5 star rating, rounded up to 4. So I did like the horror parts of this. It was scary. It was like, it had the storyteller quality that I like in my horror. As mentioned before, it was dated and it didn't feel the best. And really, that's the only reason I'm like knocking a star down. Like, where were the ladies? Like, give me a lady to root for in here, not a monster. This was good. So if you can stand that sort of thing, I recommend this. 3.5 stars. So let's wrap up the rest of the books just as a recap here. So I read, these aren't in order. The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett, also gave it a 3.5, rounded up to 4. And then I read Secret Santa. This was a 4. I was gonna do a 4.5 until the ending, but it's a 4. And then I read Christmas Murder Game. This was a 4. It was almost a 3.5, but it ended up being a 4. I just read The Christmas Guest last night and this morning. This was a 4. And Krampus, the Yule Lord, was also a 4. And then for audiobooks, I had, what did I read? Dead of Winter. I gave that a 3. Probably my least successful book from this vlog, sadly. And I did Hercule Poirot's Christmas. That was probably my best book of the vlog, weirdly enough. And I gave that a 4.5. And what am I missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing one. What am I missing, guys? Tell me what I'm missing. Okay, that's right. The Visitor. Sorry. That means Dead of Winter was not my least successful book, because I did end up liking it by the end. My least successful book was The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. I gave this a 2, but it was really like a 1.5 according to my cop pile. So that was my least successful video. Book. Why do I keep saying that? Luckily, it was my first, so it just went up from there. Let's stack these up. These are most of the books that it's too slippery. These are most of the books that I ended up reading. I would do this again for sure. I don't like Christmas and horror and Christmas and murder and Christmas and mystery go really well together. I mean, everybody knows that already apparently but me, and I kind of knew it already, but I mean, I've just confirmed. These all came from various sources, and all of them except for one were a success. Now granted, I picked which ones sounded interesting to me, but this was good. And I would recommend probably all of these except for Ghost Story, just because of the dated elements. And even then, I know there are people out there like myself who can handle reading a dated story, like taking it in context, because it was a really good story in terms of like the arc and the journey. Actually, the one I would recommend most people pick up, well, 2 of them actually, Secret Santa and Krampus. Those were so much fun. They were probably the most fun I had in this challenge. Like, Secret Santa was just really well put together, and it was an easy listening experience, and I had a good time with it. And Krampus just really tickled my fancy. I could have done without some of the organized crime, and I think the author did it on purpose, but like the homophobia and the ableism that some of the people in this world were exhibiting wasn't super comfy, but I could see myself rereading this and bumping up my rating. And Krampus himself was just really, I just really liked him. I was pleasantly surprised with how nuanced of a character Krampus turned out to be. I had a good time with this. This was a success. I don't know what I'm going to do next year for Christmas, since I've done romance and now creepy books. Maybe I'll do like one from every genre. I think I said I was going to do that last year, and then I got the idea to do this instead, but whatever. This video has been going on now for 6 minutes, and I'm probably going to cut it down to 5. So it is time for me to go. I need to go re-up my pain medication / fever medication, and take a nap. Well, I have to edit this too, so then nap. That's my reward. But I hope you guys had a great holiday season and you have a nice and safe New Year's. And I will see you. Well, I've got 2 videos that I already filmed coming up before the end of the year, so you'll see me then. But as of me right now, I will see you in the new year. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you've made it this far, leave me something creepy, like a skull or a knife or something of that nature, an emoji, in the comments below. And I will see you guys in the new year. Farewell.